The Order of the Solar Temple, also known as Ordre du Temple Solaire in French and the International Chivalric Organization of the Solar Tradition or simply as the Solar Temple, is a secret society that claims to be based upon the ideals of the Knights Templar. OTS was started by Joseph de Mambro and Luc Jouret in 1984 in Geneva as l'Ordre International Chevaleresque de Tradition Solaire and later renamed Ordre du Temple Solaire. Some historians allege that the Solar Temple originates with French author Jacques Breyer, who established a sovereign order of the Solar Temple in 1952. In 1968, a schismatic order was renamed the Renewed Order of the Solar Temple under the leadership of French right-wing political activist Julien Origas. The OTS is perhaps most notorious for being associated with a series of murders and mass suicides in 1994 and 95 that claimed several dozen lives. Beliefs. According to Perronic in his book, Pourquoi la copyright Sergents de l'Ordre du Temple? Tome Premier, Le Cours 1975, pages 147–149, the aims of the Order of the Solar Temple included, establishing correct notions of authority and power in the world. An affirmation of the primacy of the spiritual over the temporal. Assisting humanity through a great transition. Preparing for the second coming of Christ as a solar God King. And furthering a unification of all Christian churches and Islam. The group reportedly drew some inspiration for its teachings from British occultist Aleister Crowley, who headed the Order of Eastern Temple from 1923 until his death in 1947, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a 19th-century Rosicrucian order Crowley belonged to briefly. Both occult groups had a grade system somewhat similar to the Solar Temple. Another Rosicrucian group, the Rosicrucian Fellowship headed by Max Heindel, also mentioned that Rosicrucians worship Christ as the solar logos, although this is not Orthodox Christian doctrine. There were Solar Temple lodges in Morin Heights and Saint-Anne-de-la-Parre copyright raid, Quebec, Canada, as well as in Australia, Switzerland, Martinique and other countries. The temple's activities were a mix of early Christian identity, UFO religion and New Age philosophy using variously adapted Freemason rituals. Jouret was interested in attractive, wealthy and influential members, and it was reputed that several affluent Europeans were secret members of the group. Structure. According to the literature of the OTS, the central authority was the Synarchy of the Temple, whose membership was secret. Its top 33 members were known as the Elder Brothers of the Rosy Cross, and were headquartered in Saar-1-Quarterich, Switzerland. The Council of the Order formed lodges that were run by a regional commander and 3 elders. Progression in the order was by levels and grades, with 3 grades per level the levels being the Brothers of Parvis, the Knights of the Alliance and the Brothers of the Ancient Times, in ascending order. There were many organizations associated with the OTS, including the International Archidia Sciences and Tradition, Archidia Clubs, Mentor Clubs, Agatha Clubs and Atlanta Clubs, all of which offered the teachings of Luc Jouret both to the general public and privately to OTS members. The lodges had altars, rituals and costumes. Members were initiated at each stage of advancement in ceremonies which included expensive purchases, jewelry, costumes, regalia, and the payment of initiation fees. During ceremonies, members wore crusader-type robes and were to hold an or sword, which de Mambro said was an authentic Templar artifact, given to him 1,000 years ago in a previous life. Mass murders and suicides. In October 1994, Tony Dutoit's infant son, aged 3 months, was killed at the group's center in Morin Heights, Quebec. The baby had been stabbed repeatedly with a wooden stake. It is believed that de Mambro ordered the murder, because he identified the baby as the Antichrist described in the Bible. He believed that the Antichrist was born into the order to prevent de Mambro from succeeding in his spiritual aim. A few days later, de Mambro and 12 followers performed a ritual Last Supper. A few days after that, apparent mass suicides and murders were conducted at Cherry and Salvan, 2 villages in western Switzerland, and at Morin Heights a 15 Inner Circle members committed suicide with poison, 30 were killed by bullets or smothering, and 8 others were killed by other causes. In Switzerland, Many of the victims were found in a secret underground chapel lined with mirrors and other items of Templar symbolism. The bodies were dressed in the order's ceremonial robes and were in a circle, feet together, heads outward, most with plastic bags tied over their heads. They had each been shot in the head. It is believed that the plastic bags were a symbol of the ecological disaster that would befall the human race after the OTS members moved on to Sirius. It is also believed that these bags were used as part of the OTS rituals, and that members would have voluntarily worn them without being placed under duress. There was also evidence that many of the victims in Switzerland were drugged before they were shot. Other victims were found in 3 ski chalets. Several dead children were lying together. The tragedy was discovered when officers rushed to the sites to fight the fires that had been ignited by remote control devices. Farewell letters left by the believers stated that they believed they were leaving to escape the hypocrisies and oppression of this world. A mayor, a journalist, a civil servant, and a sales manager were found among the dead in Switzerland. Records seized by the Quebec police showed that some members had personally donated over $1 million Canadian to D. Mambro. Another attempted mass suicide of the remaining members was thwarted in the late 1990s. All the suicide murders and attempts occurred around the dates of the equinoxes and solstices in some relation to the beliefs of the group. Another mass death incident related to the OTS took place during the night between the 15th and 16th December 1995. On December 23, 1995, 16 bodies were discovered in a star formation in the Vaucluse Mountains of France. It was found later that 2 of them shot the others and then committed suicide by firearm and immolation. On the morning of March 23, 1997, 5 members of the OTS took their own lives in Saint-Casimir, Quebec. A small house erupted in flames, leaving behind 5 charred bodies for the police to pull from the rubble. 3 teenagers, aged 13, 14 and 16, the children of one of the couples that died in the fire, were discovered in a shed behind the house, alive but heavily drugged. Michel Tabachnik, an internationally renowned Swiss musician and conductor, was arrested as a leader of the Solar Temple in the late 1990s. He was indicted for participation in a criminal organization, and murder. He came to trial in Grenoble, France during the spring of 2001 and was acquitted. French prosecutors appealed against the verdict and an appellate court ordered a second trial beginning October 24, 2006. He was again cleared less than 2 months later on December 2006. In popular culture, the OTS and the suicides are major plot points in James Rollin's Sigma Force novel 6.5, The Skeleton Key. The story opens with Catophile urban explorer René MacLeod, who has tattooed a map of the catacombs of Paris on his body, learning he has been kidnapped and forced to guide former guild members seeking to find and save the kidnapper's son, who is scheduled to be sacrificed, at noon, by the Order of the Solar Temple. In the Season 2 episode Cross-Pollination of the sci-fi television series Helix, a character makes a passing reference to the Solar Temple along with Jonestown in a scene involving a dangerous cult leader. In the professional wrestling promotion Chikara, Ultramantis Black led a heel stable called the Order of the Neo-Solar Temple. The sect in Spain, the Order of the Solar Temple is also based in Spain, especially in the Canary Islands. In 1984, the founder of the sect, Luc Jouret, lectured on the island of Tenerife. In the south of the island he lived the leader of the Order in Spain, also the only Spaniard who died in the suicide of the Order of the Solar Temple was a barber precisely the island of Tenerife. References. Doral, Archon. A History of Secret Societies. Galanta, Mark. Cults, Faith, Healing, and Coercion. Moran, Sarah. The Secret World of Cults. Davis, Eric. Solar Temple Pilots, The Village Voice, French magistrate rejects idea that outsiders killed cultists, AFP, Hate, James A. and Now, The Solar Temple. Free Inquiry, Winter 1994-95. Hussam Gordon, Tariq. Solar Temple Cult Influenced by Ancient Egypt, Mayer, Jean Fronner Section Wa. Apocalyptic Millennialism in the West, The Case of the Solar Temple, Critical Incident Analysis Group, hsc.virginia.edu, retrieved, January 4, 2003. Musician denies Solar Temple murders, The Scotsman, Edinburgh, Palmer, Susan. Purity and Danger in the Solar Temple, Journal of Contemporary Religion 3 pages 303 318, Probert, Robert. Solar Temple, Tabachnik acquitted, Center for New Religious Studies, Serial, Michael S. Remains of the Day, Time, Spanish cops arrest cult leader, Associated Press, Gordon, Sean. Trial highlights Canadian cult link. Toronto Star. p. A3. Retrieved October 25, 2006. Further reading, James A. Lewis, The Order of the Solar Temple, The Temple of Death. ISBN 0-7546-5285-8. External links, Religious Tolerance, Solar Temple, CBC Digital Archives, Solar Temple, A Cult Gone Wrong, Order of the Solar Temple, Britannica.